Hello everybody and welcome to another one of my Warleader pre-VMP videos. Today I'm going to be talking a bit about the Warleader and how they are now that Rise of Isengard has gone live. To that end I have two different 1v1s to show you. One is with a captain, it was the last 1v1 I recorded before the Rise of Isengard, and the other one is a Guardian, and the Guardian is the second 1v1 I have fought since Rise of Isengard has gone live. I did not record the first one even though I had fraps running at the time, so shame on me. Alright, let's get started here. The captain, I start mid-fight here, and what he's done is he's thrown up the revealing mark, which is the green circle you can see over my head. They're both rotating there. Basically that means that every time he does damage to me, he heals himself. It's doing a good job of keeping him alive. I'm currently in Brawler stance. I'm for the most part keeping on top of the damage that he's doing to me. He's doing a little bit more than I can keep up with, but because his power pool is being depleted, I'm really not worried about it. I'll easily be at 60% plus health by the time that he's out of power and would even get close to being in a position to threaten me. So I'm going to have this fight pretty handily. The only issue is that I can't do enough damage to him until he runs out of power and stops using his major attacks to be able to actually make a dent in his health pools and such. Now one thing that I do want to note is I have not used the Banner of Terror here because I used that in an earlier point, because as you can see I'm leading a raid. I just stopped for a 1v1 because of circumstances. I took a res after the enemy raid had walked away and left me there. I started walked into the captain, so here we are. Now that enemy raid that I mentioned, there they are right there in the top corner. They are coming, and basically my goose is cooked here. Not sure if the captain called them or not. He was part of the raid from then on, so I suspect that they all came to save him, which, you know, bummer. Here they just open up on me, and yeah, they save the captain's life. Would I have been able to kill him without the raid interference? Yeah, definitely. Now we're on the Guardian. This is Langlamus. He is one of the premier Gank Squad Guardians. Gank Squad is a kinship on the Lanterval server, and yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now. As you can see, the purple lines around me, that is the new Power of Fear trait that the Warleaders have gotten. That makes it so that when you get a crit with a shout, meaning Black Speech, Intimidating Shout, or Menacing Roar, which is the AoE on the number 6 bar, that's number 6 on my skill bar, you get a crit with one of those, your next heal goes off instantaneously, no induction. So yeah, he's right there. This fight is started about 3-4 minutes in, so you missed the part where I walked up behind him when he was hugging the wall of South Outpost and got literally right behind him, smacked him in the head, dropped a banner and stuff before he even reacted and stuff. I was a little appalled at his lack of situational awareness there. I started out the fight in Brawler stance. I'm currently in Commander stance because I just could not keep up the amount of healing I needed to in Brawlers, along with the power regen stuff, to be able to continue this fight. As you can see, he's got 3k less health than I do at maximum. He's got a little bit more power, but because of regeneration stuff, he is doing a very good job of having his power and health stay up. The other thing is mitigations are very, very high. As you can see, I hit for 290 there with a Black Speech shot. Black Speech is 400 something on the skill description, so he's doing more than twice what... Well, he's basically mitigating 50% of every shot I take at him, and that's a tactical damage shout. My common damage melee attacks are not faring much better. He's getting close to getting me a few times here, but as you can see, judicious use of Call to Shadow and some good crits and such, I just keep staying up and he can't drop me. He just doesn't have the firepower anymore to be able to handle that. Right there I popped that stun. He could have gotten me right there conceivably if I had not, especially because he had a power pot available to use, which he just popped right there. 2k health, but I can just keep healing and going and kiting, and he really can't do much about it. Another great thing is, right there with that crit, that was a crit with Intimidating Shout, which has a slow now, so he is currently at minus 40% movement speed, which means I can get some distance, stop to pull off some inductions and stuff, and I basically have the chance to create a gap and just fire off some heals and keep myself in the fight, which I'm doing very effectively, as you can see. Even though he's gotten me down to 2k twice now, I just keep going right back up, and his power pool just keeps dropping. Now, when we started the fight, I did use the Banner of Terror. He immediately moved away, which was a good move for him. I decided I'd just go ahead and pursue at that point and just keep going because I really wasn't worried about losing the fight. I figured I'd be able to take him pretty handily. He's put up a lot more resistance than I actually expected to get from the Guardians. Mostly that's just because of the mitigation levels. See, I critted there for almost 600. A 600 crit was what I could do before patch quite easily with Black Speech. I could even hit up to 800 depending on debuffs and stuff. So that's a little shocking there that my damage hasn't gone up that much. There I potted. Notice I've turned off auto attacks because he's popped Pledge. I don't want to give him any reactives, don't want to give him the free chances to fire off his stunning skills, get bleeds on me, all that stuff. Which is a very good policy, really. As you can see, I got a string of crits right there that enabled me to go up really high. I also was in a lag spike as Fraps was working on stuff. Refresh my banner. I don't want that to disappear in the middle of this fight because that is basically the regen that is keeping me alive at this point. Fortunately, I have a lot of experience pre-patch with fighting just based on regen only. I've done several Captain General solos and numerous other attempts to learn how to do that. But now what we've got is he's running out of cooldowns and stuff. He's wearing heal proc gear. That helmet is Stoneheart's helm. It does heal him when it takes damage 15% of the time. So it's keeping him alive for a bit, but the damage boosts we got with Isenguard have been enough that I'm able to just keep doing more damage than he can consistently heal. And because he can't keep his regenerations up as much as he wants to, he can't damage me and enough that he drops me. You see, I was at 2k health earlier. I've just gone back up to 11, 10k. So, yeah. He knows that his goose is cooked at this point. He was trying to get me to stop earlier by jumping up and down and hoping I'd accept a draw, but I didn't buy it. I'm out for blood. I've got my infamy burst from destiny points up, so that's an extra 10% from the kill, and I want that 10%. Actually, I just want all the infamy he'll give me anyway. I'll gladly fight him until that thing's gone, which is a 30-minute buff if I have to. Well, very soon here I'm going to switch over to Brawler, but I'll talk about Commander Stance and what's changed there first off. As you can see, I can now use Fracture and Menacing Roar in Commander Stance. They took away the skill barring stuff from the various stances, which is just a huge plus as far as I'm concerned and every other Warleader out there. The other thing they did was they took away the damage loss that was in Commander Stance. So basically I hit at normal damage in Commander Stance, but I get better heals. Additionally, I have much shorter inductions, as you can see. If you actually watch some of my other videos and you see when I'm in Commander Stance and other things, and I start inducting heals off, they take longer because there's a minus 25% induction now when I'm in Commander Stance. So I am taking advantage of that a lot, and it really is helping me get my heals off far more effectively, and has been keeping me alive quite a bit. In Brawler Stance, there's no longer any minus healing penalties, so you get standard heals. There is a big change to quit whining and fight when you are in Brawlers, which I've just swapped over, so I'll talk about that now. When in Brawler's Stance, quit whining and fight, it gets minus 40% healing, it gets a healing range on it, but it's always usable on the move, no induction, and you can just run. Otherwise, what I have to do is I have to stop when I get the Power of Fear buff up, hit a complete and full stop, and then I can fire off a heal. Right now what I'm doing here is I'm actually kiting him because I've got him slowed, and I just got another quick crit that got him slowed, and I'm just letting him enjoy what it's like to fight a Runekeeper as like a Reaver or something like that, although I'm not shooting nearly as fast or anything as a Runekeeper would be. And there I got him slowed again, just, you know, really being evil here. That same whole come to a complete stop, and then you can hit your skill and then start moving, and you'll fire it off at the same time. You can use that with the Inductionless Banner if you're carrying that trait on you, and that also works very effectively. I use that quite a bit nowadays. As you can see, he used Strength and Morale, so that's kept the fight going a bit longer, but really 30-minute cooldown, only 3k heal, it's basically just prolonging the entire endeavor. He knows he can't beat me at this point, or I assume he does. I know that he can't beat me at this point. I've got 6k health, my pots just came off cooldown, I've got power again and stuff, I'm basically just going after him and I'm going to let him have it. Okay, Brawler's stance, other than those two changes, the other big change is that there's now the 10-second cooldown on the shouts, which helps out tremendously. That's the main reason I jumped over to Brawlers in the middle of the fight, is because the tactical damage is my more reliable form of damage, and it's going to let me finish this whole thing off. And there I got him, 186 infamy. He was fat. So anyways, when the raid hit me from that captain fight, basically I was dead. The only thing I could do is I could keep shooting at the captain. I knew I wasn't going to kill him or anything. I don't have the damage. I couldn't escape. There was nothing for me to do but just either roll over or just go down swinging and really not accomplish anything. Nowadays, the Warleader has turned from being stuck in place when they're healing stuff. They've turned into a far more mobile powerhouse. I can hit harder more consistently because I don't have damage debuffs in my related stances, so I can stance more effectively. Going into no stance is no longer really a good option for anything because you don't get any bonuses there, and there's no major detractions from the other two stances that would say, oh, I don't want to have to give this up, so I'll go into no stance. In the past, I would basically drop into no stance because that would unlock my ability to use things like bubble if I was in Brawler stance. But now I can bubble while I'm in Brawler stance. It would take away the damage penalty if I was in Commander stance, so I could bang out some shouts, try to deal some extra damage. But because the skill gating and the damage penalty, the heal penalty stuff is gone, there's really no reason to ever drop out. My advice is if you don't have the power to switch the stance, but you need to, then just kite or do something else instead. Warleader fared very well from Rise of Isengard, as you can see. Before the patch, there were classes that literally you had no chance against. If you were really good or had really practiced, I would be the camp of I really practiced at doing 1v1 stuff, then you can make it work against pretty much any class if they play into your hands, and I've killed every single class out there excluding the Ranger in a one-on-one, so I know what I'm talking about when I say that. But now it's a lot easier for people to get into it without having to go through the same kind of torture and practice that I did to learn how to 1v1 with my Warleader. Obviously, I'll have plenty more to talk about in coming weeks or so. As Freeps start coming back out to the moors, I get more 1v1s, I'm able to record more stuff, and I'll continue to talk about Warleaders and all the changes and goodness that has been handed to them by the devs. Alright. Well, that is all for this time. I will have another video up and I will see you guys when I see you. But in the meantime, good luck and have fun. Ugmog is out.